So, Vaibhav,
Yes, sir.
you are from Rajasthan.
Yes, sir.
So, what is the difference between Rawats of Uttarakhand and Rawats of Rajasthan?
Sir, there are several caste groups which are called Rawats. In Rajasthan also there are two. One belongs to OBC caste and one are traders. In Uttarakhand, sir, they are basically Rajputs. So that is the major difference.
And in Rajasthan, they are not Rajputs. They are OBCs.
Sir, they are OBCs.
OBCs. Your father is a school teacher.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, what are the problems of Indian education system?
Sir, there are several problems starting from the basic ground level, sir. Because in our public education system, the first thing, the problem arises because of the lack of infrastructure in the schools. The case in point being, sir, Delhi government schools have upgraded their infrastructure, so the educational outcomes have improved. So secondly, the problem arises because of the kind of students which come. Because in private education systems, in private schools, students from background with having a good background where parents can actually have a focus on their children's education, they come. But in public schools, basically people who are agricultural laborers, their children come. So they are not able to devote time on studies at their home. And thirdly, sir, it is with regard to the teacher training. There are a lot of problems in the...
Alright, okay, but you said that the second issue is the background of the student from which they are coming to.
Yes, sir.
Today, most of the candidates, successful candidates in the civil services are from these kind of schools.
Yes, sir.
Why? That means they are very successful.
So the basic reason, sir, is that because in their homes they are not able to devote time, and which is essentially because of their background in their families. Their socio-economic background is not
fine, but in spite of that, they are doing very well in their career.
So my point was that not with regard to civil service examination, I do not have the data, sir, but maybe you are right, sir.
Even students are coming from such schools to IIT.
Definitely, sir, because they are given opportunity. My point was that, sir, in public education, the problem with educational outcomes is because that schools are giving good education.
What else? This is, you said free infrastructure, then you said the kind of background, third you said about
the teacher training.
Teacher training.
Yes, sir.
What else? Don't you think that the school outcomes are very poor, and that is primarily because the focus is on acquisition of knowledge and not on application of knowledge, the quality of education.
Sir, it is there, sir. It is because of our curriculum.
One of the biggest challenge that we are so many people, but still we do not add anything new to the existing pool of knowledge.
Sir, the first problem is because in our curriculum we are focusing mainly on literacy level increase and not on the quality as such. And this is reflected also in our surveys by several NGOs like Pratham, where we see that the critical ability to even do basic arithmetic or to read and write is low. Even in children of class 5th, class 8, they are not able to do calculations of class 2 and class 5.
Alright. Have you heard of these two big corridors called North, South, East, West corridors?
So,
East, West
corridors,
North,
sir?
South corridors.
I have not heard it about.
These are the roads basically.
Yes, sir.
The major road, East and West and North and South. Any idea कि कहाँ से चालू होती है, कहाँ खत्म होती है, East and West and North and South?
So I have not heard about these specifically, but there are two highways, sir, which connects north to south and east to west. So there is a...
Which is the highway? That's the only highway, which is north, south and east, west corridor. Anyway,
okay, thank you,
so
sir. I didn't know about
start?
that.
What is the beginning and what is the end point?
Sir, it starts in Kashmir and then it ends at...
A big area.
Sir, I do not know the exact point, but it starts in Kashmir and then it ends at the Kanyakumari, the north-south. And the second one, sir, again, I do not know the exact point, sir. It starts somewhere in the Kutch area, Gujarat, and then it goes till the...
not Kutch.
Sir, I'm sorry, I'm not aware of the exact. Okay, thank you, sir.
So, where do they meet?
I'm not aware of that, sir.
All right. Okay. Now, suppose you are taking a boat from Calcutta to Bombay. So, tell me what all states would you be encountering and what is the state language of that particular state?
So, taking a boat. So, if I am traveling via boat, I would be encountering the seas and not the states. As per
you will be coming to the coastal area, na?
Yes,
that is what
through the coasts. So, if you travel through the coast, the foremost would be West Bengal. We are starting from Kolkata, so Bengali would be the regional language. Then we will cross the Orissa's coast, and that would be Odissi would be the regional language. And then we will go to Andhra Pradesh. Then Telugu would be the regional language, sir. And then we will cross over to Tamil Nadu, and then Tamil would be the regional language. And then, sir, we will cross over at the Kanyakumari and the tip of the Indian Peninsula. And
before that, Pondicherry.
Yes, sir. Pondicherry would also be there.
Thereafter,
then, sir, we'll arrive at Kerala's coast, and then Malayalam would be the regional language, and then, sir, we'll go through Karnataka. So there is Kannada also, and there is a region called Tulu. Tulu language is also there. Then, sir, we'll enter the Maharashtra's coast, and then Konkani, Goa. I'm sorry, sir. Before Maharashtra, Goa would be there, and Konkani would be the regional language. Then we'll enter Maharashtra, Marathi, and Konkani.
Very good, very good. So tell me, what is the best feature of Indian Constitution as per your understanding, and why?
So the best feature of Indian Constitution is that it is flexible in nature. It is basically an organic constitution which reflects the society's evolving nature. It is a social document which aims to transform our society.
Which feature of Indian Constitution is the most important as per your understanding?
So I believe the idea of India as a secular state is what distinguishes us from our partitions, from our Pakistan. That is Pakistan.
Fundamental rights are more important than secularism.
So I don't think that they are anyway in contradiction. Fundamental rights also are very important. I agree with you, sir, because they give right to the citizens and it is a limit on the state. But my point was that, sir, secularism and all these principles which are there in the preamble are essentially the basic features of our constitution. So, fundamental rights are also very important, sir.
Vaibhav.
Yes, sir.
Vaibhav, you have worked for a year at Samsung.
Yes, sir.
And I see that your remuneration was quite good over there. And probably you will be getting half. If you get through, you will be getting half of what you were getting there. So, why have you chosen to switch your career?
Sir, firstly, because I have interest in international relations, and Indian Foreign Service is a very prestigious service which gives me a chance to represent our country, and which will be a very big honor for me. That is why.
Okay. So you want to be a diplomat?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is why you have also taken international relations also.
Yes, sir.
As your subject. Okay. Tell me something about debt trap diplomacy.
So this term is being used with respect to China's developmental efforts that it does in smaller countries. It is basically that they carry out big infrastructure projects which are unsustainable for that country's economy to pay the debt off. And then what happens is that they essentially end up leasing those same infrastructure projects to the Chinese state. So this is called as debt trap diplomacy.
Okay. You have mentioned one of your hobbies as following international media discussions on India.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is the last discussion that you have followed?
So recently there have been news that the medical bills which the patients had to pay in their COVID treatment was exceptionally high, and international media is discussing that why is that so?
Okay, which media house is discussing this?
So there are several media houses, the German news broadcaster DW News, as well as the British news broadcaster BBC, and even the Middle East, the Qatari news broadcaster Al Jazeera. All these news broadcasters are discussing that.
You must have come across a recent issue about ad in New York Times
Yes, sir.
wherein they had listed some controversial points which are needed as per them for a job of a correspondent.
Yes, sir.
So, do you think such newspapers who follow such controversial criteria, they can ever be objective about reporting on India?
So I believe this is a very big issue because the surveys show that international media, especially the Western media, is more liberal in nature, and that is what they even mentioned in their criteria of selection, that a person should have such predisposition in their attitude. I believe that this is not an objective criteria for a journalist, because journalism requires all kind of views. So I don't think that this is a good objective standard for such a reputed New York Times publication.
Okay. Any significant discussion that you have liked, since you have mentioned? So, any significant discussion that you have liked about India in international media?
Sir, firstly, in recent times, we have seen that mostly Indian government has faced some criticism because as we have seen that international media is more liberal in nature. So that is why there are some criticism of Indian government. But so previously, our vaccine diplomacy was widely appreciated because we actually followed the enlightened self-interest, which normally countries do not follow in international relations.
Okay, since you mentioned that international media is quite liberal,
Yes, sir.
the same publications had defended the invasion of Iraq by the United States, and they were defending it.
Yes, sir.
But subsequently, it turned out the reason for which they had invaded was not there. So, do you think they are actually liberal, or they are serving the interests of their own countries?
So actually both are true because all media houses are actually have their nationalist sentiments, and liberal and conservative in the American domestic politics refers to some particular ideologies that they were very much anti the former President Donald Trump, so they criticized him, and they are pro-Democrats. So in their internal domestic politics they are seen as liberal, but yes, sir, they are actually pro-Americans. That is what they are, international media houses, especially the Americans.
Okay. Recently, there is a lot of discussion on the role of Wuhan in the spread of coronavirus. Do you think India should also adopt the stance which is now being taken by the United States, that somewhere or the other there is a role of the lab in the spread of the virus? Do you think India should take this stand?
Sir, I believe there are some concerns regarding that because some publications have indicated that Wuhan Institute of Virology were doing a gain of function research. However, sir, it is not completely proven yet. So I believe, sir, India could take a stand, but the larger question is that what we will gain out of that, taking that stand, apart from taking a moral high ground. So because already we have constrained relationship with China, so maybe without any proof we should not take such a stand.
Okay. You were a software engineer, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me why semiconductor manufacturing has not taken up in India in a big way?
Sir, again, there are several reasons to it, sir. Firstly, because
Give me two reasons.
Yes, sir. So, firstly, semiconductor manufacturing is a very technology and capital intensive manufacturing, and the countries which have big economies of scale in this sector, like Taiwan, China, and South Korea, they are much more ahead, and our domestic firms are not able to compete with them in terms of cost competitiveness. And secondly, sir, there is also a resource constraint because semiconductor manufacturing requires large gallons of pure water to be available and power industry to be available to actually function. So that is again a constraint, sir, in our country.
Okay. You have mentioned traveling as one of your hobbies, and you are from Rajasthan.
Yes, sir.
Have you been to Kumbhalgarh Fort?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why is it significant? Tell me some 2 or 3 significant facts about that fort.
So firstly, the Rajput local hero, that is Maharana Pratap, was born in that fort. Secondly, sir, nearby Kumbhalgarh there is Haldi Ghati, which is the symbolic of the Rajput resistance to the Mughals. And thirdly, sir, Kumbhalgarh fort has the 80-kilometer long wall, which is the second longest fort all over across India, which is in itself a very big remarkable, and it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Okay. Recently, Archaeological Survey of India did something around that fort, which was much in news. What was that action?
Sir, I am not aware of that. I will
Have you heard that the ASI has changed the reference in some plaques, that it was not the Mughals who won the war, but it was the Rajputs who defended their territory? Have you come across that?
Sir, I have not come across what ASI has said, but I have visited that museum which is there in Kumbhalgarh. So it suggests that the battle was not clearly won by any of the parties. Although Mughals had a stronger numbers, but because of the resistance, they were not able to actually achieve their objective. So nobody could be declared as a victory, and perhaps we can declare the defending party as they were able to defend their territory.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Vaibhav,
Yes, sir.
you belong to Rajasthan
Yes, sir.
and had a computer science graduate. It's IIT as well as BHU. IIT itself is an university. Why it is called under BHU? Two universities together.
Sir, initially there was IT BHU, which was an institute under BHU. That is IIT, that is Information Technology College was there. It was converted into an IIT. So that is why, and the IIT has actually regained that, still we have that name BHU because it has a brand value. So that is why it is called IIT BHU.
Earlier only 3 IITs were there and they were very important. Everyone want to go over there. Now there are many IITs. Still only people want to go these 3 IITs earlier, which were earlier Delhi, Bombay and Madras, Chennai. But people are going to others also. Has it lowered the status of IITs by having more IITs?
So there are concerns that increase in number of IITs might lead to dilution of the brand itself. But sir, I don't think it has lowered down any in terms of quality, because newer IITs have been much more advanced in terms of their infrastructure. Older IITs have their constraints because they already have those infrastructures in place. But we have some problems with regard to, sir, the quality of faculty over there and the students who are not opting for such newer institutions.
Rajasthan is having most of the ores, and mining is an issue over there, and mining can never be stopped in Rajasthan. So that way, once it will be plain, after all the hilltops will be broken into the plains, it will be. Is it then how to have that kind of topography in the later stage to have? Do we go for stopping the mines in Rajasthan, or we should continue and let it be leveled?
Sir, I believe mining is definitely leading to some degradation in terms of topography of Rajasthan. Aravalli Hills, 30% of Aravalli Hills have degraded since last 30 years as per NGT recent declaration. So I believe that illegal mining should be definitely stopped. We need to have some kind of sustainable developmental model where at least Aravalli Hills in certain regions should not be touched. There is a plan, sir, to have a green belt from Delhi to Gujarat of Aravalli Hills. So I believe, sir, Aravallis must be protected for Rajasthan's environment.
Mining, it should continue?
Sir, mining has to be on a sustainable model, sir, I believe. Like illegal mining should definitely be stopped, and the state and private sector should have some standards so that we can regulate it.
What is the impact of this mining of Aravallis to the leeward side of the Aravallis? Leeward side means opposite to the Aravalli sides.
Sir, as in, sir, towards the eastern side, or the I'm not able to
towards the
understand,
western side.
Western side.
So mining is being done, so gaps are there, air will pass through.
Yes, sir.
Then what is the impact on other opposite side?
Sir, the increase in land degradation is taking place. The arid area, that is the Thar desert, is expanding because of the absence of Aravallis in some areas. So this is one big concern.
Deserts are being created. They are man-made or they are natural?
Sir, in Rajasthan,
In Rajasthan or partly Gujarat or little Pakistan side also. We have deserts. Are they natural or they are man-made?
Sir, the Thar desert originally was natural because of the subduction.
But it is told that they were once the fertile soils.
Yes, sir.
How do we say that it is a natural? It is fertile soil once.
Sir,
all areas used to be cultivated. That's why the people from outside Arab countries or even Europe, or they have come through this way only for the spices or something like that of Rajasthan. And
yes, sir. I agree with you that was definitely the case. So, to the best of my knowledge, a recent study was done in Kurukshetra University with regard to the origin of Saraswati River, which used to flow through Rajasthan plains. So they have found that the natural subduction of Indian plate under the Eurasian plate has caused some kind of drainage pattern, which has led to the flowing of rivers to the Bay of Bengal side. And second, sir, they have also seen that there was sudden decrease in agricultural and anthropogenic activities in these areas, which is caused mainly because of our diversion of water that we did from the upper Ganges plain.
what will be your the knowledge of your education, that is computer science, if you are coming to the services?
Sir, I believe that the skills which were imparted in computer science as a student, I gained those skills, will be very useful in administration as well. Firstly, sir, because administration, as our Honorable Prime Minister even laid out the vision in Atmanirbhar Bharat, it will become more technology sensitive. So, in that sense, we can envisage the use of new emerging technologies in efficient public service delivery. And especially, sir, in foreign service where I wish to join, I believe game theory and rational decision making will also be very helpful in calculating.
You have given less preference to police over compared to the central services.
Yes, sir.
Why? Fifth, he has chosen fifth, and he has given more weightage to revenue services. Why?
Sir, I believe that police service is essentially very important for law and order, and it is also a very respectable service. But sir, I have taken a choice because my interest in these areas, I believe that I can do a better work as a revenue service officer.
Alright. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I'll call you after me.
Thank you, Vaibhav.
Thank you, sir.
So, Vaibhav, tell
Yes,
us,
sir.
how did your interview go with us?
Sir, it went not as I would want it to be, but not bad also, sir.
This is the first time you are appearing for an interview, UPSC?
So this is my second time.
Alright. You appeared last year
Yes, sir.
and you couldn't make it ultimately?
No, sir.
Why?
Sir, I just crossed mains only by a margin of 8 marks.
Oh,
So I
I'm
was
sorry.
short by 30 marks in the final list.
So, what was your score in interview?
So it was 172.
172. Okay, that's good.
So that means you did not score well in your written.
Yes, sir.
इस बार कैसा हुआ written as compared to last year?
Sir, I believe significantly well. I hope
Alright. So Vaibhav, we found you very good.
so. Thank you, sir.
You are balanced, confident, knowledgeable. You know how to put across your views with logic and reasoning. Only one thing about your personality, many times you tend to give little labored answers. बहुत labored जिस पे करके बहुत ज़्यादा
लंबा.
एक तो longish plus labored, which many times it appears that it's not flowing from your within. It's a labored thing. You are trying to prove some point. Don't do that.
Sir,
It should flow naturally. Don't try to convince the interviewing board. Labored means you are trying to convince the laborer, no, yehi theek hai, kind of thing. Don't do that. Don't insist on that.
so where exactly, sir, I was like
I
this?
don't know, but when he was asking some question, I noticed that you are entering on the verge of a debate kind of a thing. Don't do that. So you just give whatever is being asked. You give. There are two kinds of questions. One is a question is asked. You give some kind of an answer. Full stop. Give the shortest possible answer, and that's the end of the matter. But that is not what we want from you. We want to elicit your opinion or your views on a particular topic. Or usse we would like to judge your character, your understanding, and how do you put across your views, that kind of thing. So idea is that. But I observed in two questions, you are entering not into a debate, but on the verge of entering into a debate. That's not a very good thing. Your answer should be the shortest possible. Don't give a longish answer. The moment you start giving longish answer, you would be trying to convince the interviewing board that you are right. Don't do that. Two small things. One, उसमें आप beard clean shaven जाएंगे?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Secondly, answer should be balanced, not a longish answer. All right. That's the only thing. Otherwise, you are a first rate officer. Don't miss this opportunity.
Yes,
you are a wonderful candidate, and since your first choice is foreign service, so you should be able to get your first choice.
Thank you, sir.
वैभव आई थिंक आपका बॉडी लैंग्वेज बहुत अच्छा है, मतलब यू आर कमिंग अक्रॉस एज कॉन्फिडेंट. जस्ट वन थिंग दैट आपने IFS फर्स्ट प्रेफरेंस भरा है और आपने हॉबी में भी लिखा है फॉलोइंग इंटरनेशनल मीडिया डिस्कशन. तो माई असेसमेंट इज़ दैट दिस इज़ अ वेरी ओपन एंडेड हॉबी. क्या होता है कि इंटरनेशनल डिस्कशन तो बहुत सारी चीज़ों पे होता है कि भाई डोमेस्टिक पॉलिसी पे होता है, फॉरेन पॉलिसी पे, तो बहुत सारी चीज़ों पे होता है. तो फॉर दैट यू विल नीड टू फॉलो इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस एंड वेरी थॉरोली.
यस सर.
क्योंकि एंड ऑल्सो कि इंटरनेशनल मीडिया में चल क्या रहा है इंडिया के बारे में, तो बोथ वेज, मतलब हमारे न्यूज़पेपर्स में भी जो है और वहाँ पे जो पब्लिश हो रहा है वो आपको थॉरोली करना पड़ेगा.
Yes,
एंड ऑल्सो देयर मे बी कॉन्ट्रोवर्शियल क्वेश्चंस ऑल्सो कि वो तो ऐसा कहते हैं तो आपका क्या व्यू है एंड ऑल. तो वहाँ पे कोशिश ये होनी चाहिए कि थोड़ा बैलेंस्ड ओपिनियन लिया जाए. ठीक है. और जहाँ तक हाँ राजस्थान की बात है, वो ये था कि ASI ने रिसेंटली वो प्लाक्स हटाए हैं बहुत सारे फोर्ट से जहाँ पे ये लिखा था कि नहीं मुगल्स जीते हैं करके. वो दैट वाज पुट अप इन द टाइम ऑफ इंदिरा गांधी. तो ASI हैज रिसेंटली, सारे न्यूज़पेपर में आर्टिकल आया था, आप देखना, सर्च कर लेना.
आई विल.
तो हाँ, क्योंकि हमने ट्रैवलिंग लिखा
बेसिकली आया था हल्दी घाटी के बारे में.
हल्दी घाटी के बारे में. हाँ, तो ट्रैवलिंग लिखा है. सो राजस्थान में बहुत सारे फोर्ट्स हैं ये वो, तो उस पर कोई क्वेश्चन हो सकते हैं. ठीक है.
यस सर.
ऑल द बेस्ट.
बिल्कुल, बहुत अच्छा आपका है कॉन्फिडेंस, पर क्योंकि आपका जो अच्छा है ये और अच्छा हो जाना चाहिए, उसके ऊपर आपको कंसंट्रेट करना है. आप अपने आंसर्स में सोशल एक एस्पेक्ट को और थोड़ा सा रखिए. कंप्यूटर एप्लीकेशन वेयर इट इज़ अप्लीकेबल टू द सोशल इश्यूज. एक दूसरा कंप्यूटर एप्लीकेशंस है ना, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. मतलब वेदर इट इज़ आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, वेदर इट इज़ इम्पैक्टिंग यंग ब्लड्स, वेदर इट इज़ इम्पैक्टिंग व्हाट इज़ हैपनिंग, क्या इसके बैड हैं और क्या कैसे इंप्रूव हो सकते हैं. ब्रश अप करंट रिपोर्ट, स्टेट डिटेल्स. मतलब अब आपको याद होगा पुराने ज़माने में ये बोला जाता था कि डेजर्ट्स दे वर फुल ऑफ ट्रीज एंड
यस सर.
सो दैट वाज द इशू. विद द पैसेज ऑफ टाइम, डिजर्टिफिकेशन, कटिंग ट्रीज एंड मैनी थिंग्स हैपन. So though we cannot say that it is not only man-made, maybe natural, but man-made it was once upon a time.
Yes, sir.
Desertification has come up and it's coming toward Punjab.
Yes,
so that is why you can थोड़ा राजस्थान के बारे में और थोड़ा सा इसको डिटेल में जहाँ जहाँ भी आपको लगता है एक गैप को कर दीजिए पूरा उसको. आई थिंक इंटरव्यू को उसी तरफ ले जाइए. सर ने एक चीज़ लेंथी शब्द बोला, इसको यदि आप पॉइंट वाइज थोड़ा सा और आंसर्स को करना लगिए तो आपका लेंथ जो है वो कवर हो जाएगी या कम हो जाएगी, या तो कवर हो जाएगी 1 2 3, तो लेंथ भी कवर हो गई. और दूसरा आपको अपने आप पता लगेगा वेयर आई एम टॉकिंग सुपरफ्लुअस आर नॉट रिक्वायर्ड. इसको थोड़ा सा इंप्रूव करोगे तो यू विल सर्टनली गेट इनटू.
लेबर्ड नहीं दिखना चाहिए, नेचुरल आना चाहिए.
नेचुरल.
लेबर्ड का मतलब
सर आई एम नॉट स्टिल नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड.
लेबर्ड मीन्स वो होता है वेयर यू आर ट्राइंग टू कन्विंस ऑन योर आर्ग्यूमेंट्स. दैट इज लेबर्ड. मतलब आप मेहनत कर रहे हो, उसको लेबर्ड करो. इट्स नॉट अ गुड थिंग.
नहीं, इसको दूसरे वे में भी हम लोग मान लिए चुप हैं तो आप बोलते ही मत जाइए. आपको लग रहा है कि नाउ योर आंसर इज ओवर, खत्म कर दीजिए.
उन्होंने कुछ कहा, मैं बोल रहा हूँ समझ. ही सेड समथिंग, मैं कहता हूँ था जो मीडिया के बारे में. यू आर ट्राइंग टू लेबर इट कि जो आप पॉइंट कह रहे हो वो सही कह रहे हो.
नहीं, ही वॉज लिटल मोर एक्सप्लेनेटरी ऑन माइनिंग ऑफ राजस्थान ऑल्सो. मैं उसको भी बोलने वाला था, आपको लंबा नहीं करने
की. I found in 2 questions, 3 questions, you are trying to labor on the issues which you are advocating. Don't labor on that. You just state and full stop.
आप क्रक्स देखो क्वेश्चन का क्या है कि अगर मान लो मीडिया पे क्वेश्चन पूछा था तो मीडिया के क्वेश्चन में ये था कि भाई सो एंड सो जिनका प्री डिस्पोजिशन ही बायस्ड है तो वो कैसे ऑब्जेक्टिव रिपोर्टिंग कर सकते हैं। क्वेश्चन ये नहीं है कि उन्होंने पास्ट में क्या बोला, मतलब कोविड में क्या रिपोर्ट किया या 370 पे क्या रिपोर्ट किया। क्रक्स ऑफ द क्वेश्चन जो है ना उस पर फोकस करो, ठीक है। इफ़ यू आर कॉन्फिडेंट अबाउट इट, बहुत बढ़िया, और अगर नहीं हो तो यू कैन से दैट मे बी आई कैन रीड मोर अबाउट इट, तो वो ठीक है। अदरवाइज क्या ना आपका, क्योंकि इसीलिए मैं कह रहा हूँ कि ओपन एंडेड हॉबी है, तो ओपन एंडेड होने से क्या होता है कि आपका आंसर भी लॉन्ग हो जाता है, तो उस पर थोड़ा सा अगर आप फोकस करोगे तो ठीक हो जाएगा।
सर मेरा स्टैंड आपको कैसा लगा उस पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन?
आई थिंक स्टैंड ठीक है कि अगर कोई मतलब उनके रिपोर्टिंग में कुछ इनहेरेंट बायस है तो डेफिनेटली वो रिफ्लेक्ट होगा। हाँ,
आपको कैसा लगा?
एग्जैक्टली,
नो राइट एंड रॉन्ग आंसर।
यस सर,
There is no right and wrong answer. We are trying to find out your views. Your views may be entirely different than our views. Forget about it. We are trying to find out whether all your views are logical, being presented in a coherent manner or not. Whether these are based and backed by some data or figures or not.
आपका आंसर, you were very nicely articulating your knowledge and everything. That is very good. Articulation ही चाहिए, बस ये है कि आपका आर्टिकुलेशन कहीं बोर ना कर दे, मतलब ये ध्यान रखना।
यस सर,
ऑल द बेस्ट,
थैंक यू सर।
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civilsdaily.